You did everything right. You went to college, you got the job, you got the raise, you bought the house in a decent neighborhood. You contribute to your 401k. You're not blowing money on ridiculous things. You are, by every measurable standard, doing fine. So why does it feel like you're one bad month away from a crisis? If you've ever asked yourself that question, this video is for you. Because today we are talking about the middle class trap and why the system that's supposed to create financial security has actually been engineered to keep you comfortable enough not to question it, but never wealthy enough to be free. I'm Olivia, and this is the Money Compendium, because smart people deserve to understand their money. Let's start with something that sounds impossible until you look at the numbers. According to a 2023 survey by Pimmons and Lending Club, nearly 40% of Americans earning over $100,000 a year are living paycheck to paycheck. Read that again. 6 figures, paycheck to paycheck. And before you write those people off as bad with money, let's actually walk through what that life looks like, because I bet some of it sounds familiar. You wake up, you make $85,000 a year, maybe more. Your mortgage is $2,100 a month because that's what you qualified for, and homes in your area have doubled since 2019. Your car payment is $480 because a reliable car costs real money now. Daycare runs $1,800 a month, which is functionally a second mortgage. You have health insurance, but the deductible is $4,000 before it kicks in. You're putting a little into your 401k because your HR department said you should. You have $800 in savings. You're not frivolous. You're not reckless. You are trapped. And the trap was not built by accident. Here's the most dangerous part of the middle class. You feel okay. Not great, not thriving, but okay. And okay is the enemy of change. When you're in genuine crisis, you are forced to act. When you're underwater, you swim. But when you're floating, you just float. And that's exactly where the system wants you. Think about how financial products are marketed to the middle class. Credit cards that reward you for spending, mortgages that stretch your budget to the absolute limit of what you can handle, car loans normalized at 72 and 84 months, buy now, pay later for groceries, low monthly payments on everything. These products are not designed to make you wealthy. They are designed to keep your money moving out of your account and into someone else's. The wealthy don't use credit cards to earn points. They own the companies issuing the cards. And that distinction matters more than any travel rewards program ever will. Now let's talk about the structural piece, because this isn't just personal finance, it's economics, and you deserve to understand both. Since 1979, worker productivity in the United States has increased by over 60%. Wages? Up about 18% after adjusting for inflation. That gap represents decades of value that workers created and did not capture. At the same time, the cost of the 3 things most critical to middle-class stability have increased dramatically. Housing is up over 400% since 1984 in many markets. College education costs have increased more than 1,200% since 1980. Healthcare costs have risen over 600% since 1983. Wages did not keep pace with any of those 3 things, not even close. So the middle class is being squeezed from both directions. Your ability to earn has been decoupled from your economic output, and the cost of maintaining a stable middle-class life has exploded beyond what that income can comfortably support. This is not a you problem, but it will require a you solution, and we'll get to that. Here's one more scenario before we talk about what the wealthy actually do differently. The middle class has been sold the idea that a stable job, a 30-year mortgage, a pension or 401k, and a college degree for your kids equals security. But stability is not wealth. Stability is the absence of immediate crisis, and those two things feel the same until they're not. A stable job can disappear in a layoff. A 30-year mortgage means you will spend 30 years paying interest to a bank before that asset is truly yours. A 401k is subject to market conditions you cannot control, with fees you may not fully see. And the average college degree now comes with $37,000 in student loan debt before your kid has earned their first paycheck. None of that is security. It is managed dependence. The genuinely wealthy don't chase stability. They build assets that generate income whether they work or not. And that is a fundamentally different game than the one most of us were taught to play. So what does the game look like when you're on the other side of it? The wealthy do not primarily earn income. They own income-producing assets, real estate that generates monthly rent, businesses that run without them, stocks that pay dividends, royalties, equity stakes, intellectual property. And here's the key difference that most personal finance content glosses over. The tax code in the United States is specifically structured to reward asset ownership over wage income. Capital gains, which is income from selling assets, is taxed at a maximum of 20% federally for most people. Qualified dividends, the same. Carried interest, used by hedge fund managers, can be taxed at capital gains rates even lower than that. Meanwhile, wage income, your paycheck, is taxed at ordinary income rates up to 37%. The person who works hard and earns $200,000 is taxed more heavily than the person who owns assets that generate $200,000. That is not an accident. That is policy. The wealthy stay wealthy, in part, because the rules are written in their favor. And understanding that isn't pessimistic, it's the beginning of strategy. Now, here is where this gets practical. Because understanding the trap is step 1, deciding to exit is step 2. There are 3 fundamental shifts that separate people who escape the middle-class cycle from those who don't. Shift 1. From income focus to asset focus. The question stops being, how do I earn more, and starts being, what can I own? This doesn't mean you need to start a real estate empire tomorrow. It means reorienting your financial decisions around building ownership, not just earnings. Shift 2. From consumption identity to wealth identity. The middle class spends on the appearance of success. Designer clothes, new cars, upgraded kitchens, expensive vacations financed on credit. Not because these people are shallow, but because consumer spending is culturally rewarded and saves are invisible. Wealth is built in the gap between what you earn and what you spend. That gap requires a different relationship with how you see yourself in relation to money. Shift 3. From working for time to making time work for you. Your labor is finite. Time is finite. Assets are not. The goal is to reach a point where your money is working harder than you are, not instead of you working, but in addition to it. Compounding does not care how tired you are. Here's what nobody tells you about the middle-class trap. It's not just financial. It's psychological. Because when you have grown up in scarcity, or even just in enough, your nervous system learns to treat comfortable as safe. And it treats anything that disrupts that comfort, risk, change, investing, entrepreneurship, as a threat. So even when you intellectually understand that you need to build assets, your brain sends up alarms. What if I lose it? What if I fail? What if I try and it doesn't work, and I end up worse off than before? And that fear is real. It is not irrational. It is the result of a lifetime of operating in a system where one bad month actually can derail everything. But here's the problem. That fear keeps you exactly where you are, in the comfort trap, floating, not swimming. The shift from scarcity mindset to abundance mindset is not about positive thinking. It is not about affirmations. It is about rewiring a deeply held belief that there is never going to be enough, so you might as well protect what you have. Because protecting what you have will not build wealth. It will preserve your current position while inflation slowly erodes it. That belief system is the subject of our companion video on the Mind Compendium this week. We're going into the psychology of scarcity and abundance, specifically for people who are struggling to pay the bills right now. Not theoretical abundance for people who are already comfortable. The real, hard version of what it takes to shift your mindset when the math is still scary. The link is in the description. I highly recommend you to watch it after this one. So let's pull this all the way back to the beginning. You did everything right, and the system rewarded you with a very specific kind of life. Busy enough to stay distracted, comfortable enough not to revolt, and just financially squeezed enough that building real wealth feels out of reach. But it isn't. What it requires is a different game plan, not a harder work ethic, not a lucky break. A reorientation. Start asking different questions. Not, how do I pay off this month? But, what can I own? Not, how do I survive this system? But, how do I understand it well enough to use it? That shift starts in your mind before it ever shows up in your bank account. If this video hits something real for you, subscribe. Everything on this channel is built around one idea. Everyone deserves to understand their money. I'll see you in the next one.